Hi guys, welcome to Medical Megamind channel. In this video, I am going to discuss pharyngeal arches. If you are new here, please subscribe to my channel for more medical videos. See, pharyngeal arches. Before going to the definition, you should know something about foregut. Okay. See, this is the amniotic cavity. This is the yolk sac and middle portion is mesoderm. See, this. Remember this thing. Yolk sac is lined by endoderm. Amniotic cavity is lined by ectoderm. And this is mesoderm. Ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm. This forms the embryonic disc. What happens during the course of development is the relative position of these two ends of ectodermal lining will remain same. See here, these are the two ends, right? In the first stage, the ectodermal layer was like this, but during the course of development, the length of the ectodermal lining increases, but relative position of the ends remains same. See here, ends remain same, but this ectodermal layer will grow in length. What happens? Bending occurs like this. And now again this stage, relative position same. Position of the ends remains same, but ectodermal layer will grow in length. Again further bending occurs like this. So in the later stage, the ectodermal lining almost forms a cavity by folding upon itself like this. Okay. Now here comes to the yolk sac. Yolk sac will invade this cavity formed by the folding of the ectoderm on itself. Okay. This is the yolk sac, right? Yolk sac will enter this cavity. Previously, the yolk sac endodermal lining was like this. The middle portion is mesoderm. And now, as ectodermal layer bends, yolk sac will also project to this cavity. Of course, this is endodermal lining, and the middle portion is, this portion is mesoderm, right? Mesoderm will also bend like that way. In this stage, the yolk sac lining will form like this. So in the final stage, what happens to the yolk sac lining is it almost forms a canal like structure like this. Remember, as the embryo develops, the yolk sac size will decrease like this. This is the definitive yolk sac and its size is less compared to the primitive yolk sac, right? So this yolk sac cavity is nothing but alimentary canal or gut, you can call it. The alimentary canal or gut is divided into three parts according to the position. Okay, the cranial most, this is the cranial end, this is the caudal end. The anterior most part is the foregut, the middle part is the midgut, and the posterior part is the hindgut. Okay, this is hindgut, and this is midgut. Okay, this is the amniotic cavity, green colored portion lined by ectoderm. Okay, remember ectoderm. This is yolk sac, definitive yolk sac, lined by endoderm. Okay, this is the mesoderm. So pharyngeal arches definition. Pharyngeal arches are the mesodermal thickening of the cranial most part of foregut wall. Okay, this is the cranial most part. Cranial most part of foregut forms the pharynx part in adults. Okay, this is the wall of foregut. This is the mesoderm, right? What happens to the mesoderm is it forms a rod-like thickening. Okay, these rod-like thickenings of mesodermal part of the cranial most part of the foregut are called pharyngeal arches. See here, previously, remember, this is the dorsal part, this is the ventral part. What happens in the course of the pharyngeal arches is they arise in the dorsal part and meet the opposite pharyngeal arch in the ventral portion. This is one arch, and this arch will meet its corresponding arch on the opposite side in the ventral part. Okay, remember. Of course, I will take this portion and explain. This is foregut, right? This is the mesoderm, and this is the mesoderm. This is the foregut. Of course, it is lined by endoderm. This is ectodermal lining of amniotic cavity. This whole portion surrounding is amniotic cavity. Okay. Now, in the initial stage of the embryo, this mesoderm is uniform like this. During the course of development, it forms like this in the cross section. These mesodermal rod-like thickenings are called pharyngeal arches. Simple. Why pharyngeal? Because this cranial most part of the foregut forms pharynx in adults. That's why pharyngeal arches. Okay. Now, consider this developing embryo. I will take a section in this area like this, and this section will look like almost like this. Okay. Now, this is the innermost cavity of the embryo, right? This is the outer cavity, which is amniotic cavity, and this is the mesoderm. This whole thing is ectoderm. This whole thing is endoderm, and middle is mesoderm. Now, in this picture also, the inner layer which faces the cavity, this layer is facing cavity, right? This layer is facing outward. That means it is facing amniotic cavity. This is facing gut, alimentary canal formed by yolk sac, and this layer is endoderm. Remember, inner layer is endoderm. This layer which is facing amniotic cavity is ectoderm, and this middle portion between endoderm and ectoderm is mesoderm. This is the pharyngeal arch. This is one pharyngeal arch. There are totally in the initial stage 6 pharyngeal arches, but during the course of development, 5th one will degenerate. So how many number of pharyngeal arches now? Totally 5 in number. 1, 2, 3, 4, and finally 6th. 5th is degenerated. Now comes to the endodermal pouch and ectodermal cleft. See here, this is the inner cavity, right? This is the endodermal lining. This endodermal lining will project outward. See the arrow mark. It is projecting outward between the pharyngeal arches like this. Okay. It is projecting outward, diverging. Okay. These depressions are called endodermal pouch. Remember DP, endodermal pouches. There are totally 4 endodermal pouches. Okay. Now comes to the ectodermal clefts. See, this is the ectodermal lining. Okay, this is 1, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Okay, this is the ectodermal lining. Ectodermal lining will project inward. See the arrow mark. This is the depression. This is the inner area. This is the outer area. The ectodermal layer will project inward. Okay, see the arrow marks. These depressions which projects inwards are called ectodermal clefts. Okay, you should remember these 3 names: pharyngeal arch, endodermal pouch, ectodermal cleft. Okay, remember endodermal pouch, not cleft. DP. Okay. Up till now, I have discussed the definition of the pharyngeal arches and how they are formed. Okay, I will take this one pharyngeal arch and discuss the elements of pharyngeal arch. See, this is the one pharyngeal arch. Inside the pharyngeal arch mesoderm, there are some elements. I will discuss those. Okay. Now, see this figure. Elements of pharyngeal arches. Each pharyngeal arch consists of elements. Okay. First is an arterial arch, a skeletal element, striated muscle, and nerve of arch. There are totally 4 elements on one arterial arch, a skeletal element, striated muscle, and nerve of the arch. Remember, in this figure, this is the ectoderm, this is the endoderm. Same here, I have taken one pharyngeal arch, ectoderm, endoderm. Firstly, this is the arterial arch. Each pharyngeal arch has its own arterial arch. Arterial arches are the arteries which connect the dorsal aorta and ventral aorta. See, this is the foregut, right? This is the foregut, imagine. And above the foregut, dorsal aorta is present. This is dorsal aorta. Below the foregut, ventral aorta is present. But in the cranial most part, this is the cranial most part of the foregut. In the cranial most part of the foregut, above the foregut, there is developing brain. Okay. Imagine this is developing brain. Below the foregut, there is developing heart. These two aortae cannot directly pass over the developing brain and developing heart. Instead, they will split when they reach this developing heart and developing brain. I cannot show the splitting in this side view, so I will write the anterior-posterior view. See, this is the ventral aorta. Okay, before reaching the developing heart. After reaching the developing heart, it will split into two. Okay, like this. This is the ventral part. I am viewing in the anterior posterior view. This is the anterior part. Similarly, in the posterior part, this is the dorsal aorta, right? After reaching developing brain, it will also split like this. Okay. Now, these arterial arches are the arteries which connect these two aortae like this, and they pass through the branchial arches or pharyngeal arches. Imagine on the lateral wall of the foregut, this is one pharyngeal arch, this is another pharyngeal arch. These arterial arches will pass us through the pharyngeal arches. Okay, this is side view, this is anterior posterior view. These are the arterial arches. One arch, second, third, fourth, fifth one will degenerate, sixth, same here also. Okay, these are the arterial arches which connect the dorsal aorta and ventral aorta. Arterial arch, first element is completed. That is, first element is arterial arch. Now comes to the second element, which is skeletal element. See, this blue colored area is skeletal element. Why it is skeletal element? Because this is the mesoderm, right? This whole pharyngeal arch is mesoderm. This is ectoderm, this is endoderm. Inside the mesoderm, this is the cartilaginous element. Okay, this is the skeletal element because it forms bones in the later stage. Skeletal element. This is the cartilage. During the course of development, this cartilage may convert into a bone or remain as cartilage or a tendon, or it may become disappear. Okay, there are four possibilities. Okay, skeletal element can be converted into bone or remains as cartilage or forms a tendon or may disappear. Okay, these are the possibilities. Second element is completed. What is the second element? Skeletal element. Now, third element is striated muscle. Remember, this area forms the muscle, striated muscle. This is the third element. See, this portion, this striated muscle, may migrate to other areas or remain in this area only. But the nerve supply to these muscles which originate from a particular arch will be same as that of nerve of arch. In simple words, this is the nerve of the arch. Nerve of arch. Okay. This nerve of arch, this nerve will supply the muscle. The muscle may stay here only in the position where arch is present, or it may migrate to other areas, but nerve supply remains constant. If a muscle is travel to other area, but it will take nerve supply along with itself. Okay, for example, consider stapedius muscle in the ear. It is supplied by one of the branches of facial nerve. Facial nerve is the nerve of second pharyngeal arch. So we can find the embryological origin of the muscle if we know the nerve supply. Stapedius is supplied by one of the branches of facial nerve, but facial nerve is the nerve of second arch. Now, what is the embryological origin of stapedius? Of course, second arch. Simple. Third element is completed. that is striated muscle. Now comes to the fourth element, nerve of arch. This is the nerve of arch. So, as I said, there is a developing brain and spinal cord here above the foregut. Okay, the nerves arising from the hindbrain, developing hindbrain, supply, but consider this hindbrain, and there is a nerve arising from this hindbrain, supply this arch, pharyngeal arch. This is called nerve of arch. Okay, this nerve of arch has three branches. Okay, first one will supply the striated muscle of that arch, and another branch will supply the endodermal layer, and again another branch will supply the ectodermal lining. Simple. Nerve of arch supplies striated muscle, ectoderm and endoderm of that particular arch. Okay, now you consider a note. Say this is one pharyngeal arch, this is another pharyngeal arch, and this is another pharyngeal arch. In lower animals, each pharyngeal arch has two nerves. Okay, this is one nerve. This is the actual nerve of this arch. Okay, this is the original nerve which is present in the cranial border of the arch. This is the cranial border, this is the caudal border. Okay, this original nerve is present in the cranial border of this arch. Same in this case also, this arch also. This is the original nerve and it is present in the cranial margin. So in the lower animals, there is dual nerve supply or double nerve supply. Okay, this appears like a trench. We call it as trima. Trima means trench. Okay, this is arch, this is trench, this is arch, this is trench. Trench means depression, simple. Or trima or trench. See, this area is pre-traumatic area. Okay, this area is post-traumatic. So consider this arch. These are two trenches. This is one trench, this is another trench. This upper border is post-traumatic area. This is trench. This area is after this trench. Therefore, this is post-traumatic area. So, this original branch is called post-traumatic nerve. There is another branch which arises from this nerve and supplies this caudal border of this arch. This nerve is called pre-traumatic because this is trench or trima. This nerve is present in front of the trima, that is pre-traumatic. Traumatic nerve. This is post-traumatic. In lower animals, each arch has double nerve supply, but in humans, only first arch has pre-traumatic and post-traumatic nerve supply. Okay, double supply. You can correlate with the anterior 2/3 portion of the tongue. It is supplied by two nerves. Okay, this is post-traumatic, this is pre-traumatic. This is the nerve supply. 4 elements of the pharyngeal arch is complete.